Ano?
Okay.
Session is resumed.
Session resume. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we proceed with additional reference of business and request the Secretary General to read the titles of the bills on first reading. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader. The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the bill.
Additional reference of business, bills on first reading. House Bill Number 8219, converting Capas Tarlac into a component city to be known as the City of Capas. Representative Yap Victor.
Committee on Local Government.
House Bill Number 8220, providing for the Universal Disability Support Allowance for PWDs. Representative Vargas.
Committee on Persons with Disabilities.
House Bill Number 8222, amending the organic law for the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Representative Demaporo Khalid.
Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms, the Committee on Muslim Affairs, and the Special Committee on Peace and Reconciliation and Unity.
House Bill Number 8223, providing for the construction of a national highway in certain municipalities in Lanao to Misamis Oriental Maria Cristina National Highway. Representative Demaporo Muhammad Khalid.
Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill Number 8229, instituting unemployment compensation for formal and informal sector workers. Representative Olivares.
Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill Number 8230, expanding the paternity leave to 25 days with full pay to all male employees in the private and public sectors. Representative Olivares.
Committee on Labor and Employment, and the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill Number 8231, to outlaw the CPP, NPA, NDF, and all organizations supporting them in the recruitment, operations, financial transaction. Representative Cardema.
Committee on National Defense and Security.
House Bill Number 8232, establishing a free and accessible COVID testing and vaccination program nationwide. Representative Tambunting.
Committee on Health.
House Bill Number 8233, amending the Real Estate Service Act of the Philippines. Representative Paduano.
Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill Number 8234, providing for a stricter enforcement in the construction, installation, and maintenance of public safety signages. Representative Sarmiento Bustos de Jesus.
Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill Number 8235, instituting standards for the use of emergency vehicles and providing penalties for violations thereof. Representative Sarmiento Bustos and de Jesus.
Committee on Transportation.
House Bill Number 8241, instituting a comprehensive labor rights education in the K-12 and technical education and skills development curricula. Representative Kabatbat.
Committee on Basic Education and Culture, and the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill Number 8244, regulating the use and registration of vintage automobiles and other historical, classic, or collector motor vehicles. Representative Daza Gatchalian Pineda D. Faustino Ino.
Committee on Transportation.
House Bill Number 8245, mandating the integration of basic, first aid, and survival skills training in the curricula of all institutions of learning. Representative Lacson.
Committee on Basic Education and Culture, and the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill Number 8246, banning the production, transportation, and sale of raw wood charcoal products. Representative Lacson.
Committee on Natural Resources.
House Bill Number 8247, establishing a medical school in the University of Southern Mindanao in Cabacan, Cotabato, to be known as the University of Southern Mindanao College of Medicine. Representative Tejada.
Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
Resolution, House Resolution 1421, strongly urging the House leadership through the Committee on Rural Development to extend the implementation of the Department of Agriculture Special Area for Agricultural Development Program for 6 years from 2023 to 2028. Representative Co. Elisa.
Committee on Rural Development.
Communications, letters, and emails from several city mayors, municipal mayors, provincial governors, informing the House on the reports on fund utilization and status of programs, projects, activities, implementation relative to the Bayanihan Grant to cities, municipalities, and provinces for certain months of 2020.
Committee on Appropriations.
Letter dated October 23, 2020 of Richard I. Gomez, DPA, City Mayor, Ormoc City, transmitting their report on fund utilization and status of program project implementation for the third quarter ending in September 30, 2020 on the Local Government Support Fund Financial Assistance to Local Government Units and on the Local Government Support Fund Assistance to City.
Committee on Appropriations.
Letter dated 5 November 2020 of Ryan R. Enriquez, Chairperson, CEO, National Youth Commission, informing the House that their report on the utilization of the SK Mandatory and Continuing Training Fund FAR, one statement of appropriations, allotments, obligation, disbursement, and balances as of the quarter ending September 30, 2020 has been posted in the agency's website, Transparency Seal of November 5, 2020.
Committee on Appropriations.
Letter dated November 5, 2020 of Cesar R. Dulay, Commissioner, BIR DOF, forwarding to the House various budget and financial accountability reports as of September 30, 2020.
Committee on Appropriations.
Letter dated 10 November 2020 of Adelino B. Sitoy, Secretary, PLLO, submitting to the House their quarterly fiscal report of operations as of 30 September 2020.
Committee on Appropriations.
Calendar year 2019 Agency Action Plan and status of implementation on the audit, observations, and recommendations as of October 31, 2020 of the DBM.
Committee on Appropriations.
Financial Accountability Report and the Budget Accountability Report for the Supreme Court of the Philippines and lower courts and the Presidential Electoral Tribunal for the second quarter of 2020 that were uploaded in the Supreme Court website on August 26, 2020.
Committee on Appropriations.
Committee Report, Report Number 688 and 689 of the Committee on Human Rights and Appropriations on House Bill Number 8242 and 8243. Report Number 690 of the Committee on Population and Family Relations of the House on House Resolution 1419. Report Number 161 of the Committee on Housing and Urban Development on House Bill Number 8248. Report Number 692 of the Committee on Higher Technical Education on House Resolution 1422. Report Number 163 of the Committee on Muslim Affairs on House Bill Number 8249. Report Number 694 and 697 on the Committee on Health Appropriations on House Bill Number 8254 and 8260. Report Number 695 of the Committees on Basic Education and Culture and the Appropriations on House Bill Number 8255. Report Number 696 of the Committee on Ways and Means on House Bill Number 8259. Report Number 698 of the Committee on Metro Manila Development on the Moto Proprio Inquiry in Aid of Legislation on issues affecting several barangays in Quezon City along the alignments of Segment 8.2 on NLEX-C5 Link Project. Report Number 699 of the Committee on Public Order and Safety on House Bill Number 8261. Report Number 700 of the Committee on Metro Manila Development on the Moto Proprio Inquiry in Aid of Legislation on the NLEX-SLEC Connector Road and the North-South Commuter Railway projects as these affect several barangays in the City of Manila. Report Number 701 of the Special Committee on Bicol Recovery and Economic Development on House Resolution 1430.
Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Yes. Bills on first reading. House Bill Number 8250. Converting certain roads in the province of Misamis Occidental into a secondary national highway. Representative Waminal.
Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill Number 8251, naming certain roads in the province of Misamis Occidental as the Malindang Ecotourism Waminal Highway. Representative
Committee on
Waminal.
Public Works and Highways.
House Bill Number 8252, further amending the Migrant Workers and Overseas Filipino Act of 1995. Representative Vargas Alfonso.
Committee on Overseas Workers Affairs.
House Bill Number 8253, professionalizing the sports coaching occupation. Representative D. Faustino Ino. At Faustino Michael.
Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill Number 8256, establishing an anti-human trafficking education program for the youth. Representative Vargas.
Committee on Basic Education and Culture, and the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill Number 8257, mandating the accident and life insurance coverage for construction workers. Representative Vargas.
Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill Number 8258, expanding the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine. Representative Vargas.
Committee on Health.
House Bill Number 8262, establishing a 100-bed capacity district hospital in Caramoan, Catanduanes, to be known as the Caramoan Medical Center. Representative Sanchez.
Committee on Health.
House Bill Number 8263, establishing a multi-species marine hatchery in Tabiao, Antique. Representative Legarda.
Committee on Aquaculture and Fisheries Resources.
Resolutions. House Resolution 1423 and 1425, commending the troopers of the 44th and 102nd Infantry Battalion, Philippine Army, for their valuable achievement in counterinsurgency, anti-violent extremists, and successful dismantling of the guerrilla fronts of the communist terrorist groups in Western Mindanao. Representative Babasa.
Committee on National Defense and Security.
House Resolution 1424 and 1426, commending the troopers of the 54th and 547th Engineer Brigade, Philippine Army, for their valuable achievements and contributions in the promotion and maintenance of peace and internal stability in Western Mindanao. Representative Babasa.
Committee on National Defense and Security.
House Resolution 1427, urging the House through the Committee on Justice to investigate the alleged irregularly issued search warrant resulting to the arrest and filing of trumped-up charges against red-tagged activists and progressive organizations. Representative Gaite Zarate, Culiamat, Brosas, Castro Franz, and Ilago.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1428, commending the National Task Force Against COVID-19 for its commitment to equal access of coronavirus vaccine supply from all sources. Representative Nograles Juan.
Committee on Health.
House Resolution 1429, congratulating and commending the Filipino artists, Mr. Eric Pangilinan, Miss Jan Gabi Lanilo, and the studio of Secret Six Incorporated for their immeasurable contribution to the development of the video game The Last of Us Part 2, which won several awards out of the 11 nominations during the Game Awards of 2020. Representative De Venecia, Benitez, Maceda, Biason, Tambunting, Rodriguez, Angelina Arroyo, Nogales Jericho, Ong Ronnie, Gatchalian, Vergara, Nieto, Vargas, Alonte, Sevillano, Robes, Singson Mihan, Garcia Jose Enrique, Lim, Revilla, Sagarbaria, Santos Recto, Aragones, Bagatsing, and Belmonte.
Committee on Creative Industry and Performing Arts.
House Resolution 1431, recommending to the CPP and the NCAA the conferment of the National Artist Award to Mr. Ricardo Areola Lee, popular known as Ricky Lee. Representative Vargas.
Committee on Creative Industry and Performing Arts.
House Resolution 1432 and 1433, organizing the Philippines, Cambodia, and the Philippines-Singapore Parliament Friendship Group. Representative Ergel.
Committee on Interparliamentary Relations and Diplomacy.
House Resolution 1434, commending the troopers of the 1st Infantry Division, Philippine Army, under the leadership of Major General Generoso M. Ponyo, PA, for their valuable achievement in counter-insurgency, anti-violent extremism, and successful dismantling of guerrilla fronts of communist terrorist groups in Western and Northern Mindanao. Representative Babasa.
Committee on National Defense and Security.
House Resolution 1435, resolution granting the NCAA other relevant government agencies to ensure the conservation and preservation of the antique rice terraces of the Iranian Bukidnon as an important cultural heritage for the sake of current and future generations. Representative Legarda.
Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Resolution 1436, resolution expressing the profound condolences of the House of Representatives to the family of the late Ricardo Bacunawa Butalid, former assemblyman representing Region 5 during the interim Batasan Pambansa. Representative Velasco, Romualdez Ferdinand, and Paduano.
Committee on Rules.
Message from the Senate. Message dated December 15, 2020, informing the House of Representatives that on even date, the Senate approved the Conference Committee report on the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 1849 and House Bill number 6816, entitled An Act Ensuring Philippine Financial Industry Resiliences Against the COVID-19 Pandemic.
Committee on Rules.
Message dated December 16, 2020, informing the House that the Senate on December 15 passed House Bill number 8063 and 6656 with amendments.
Committee on Appropriations. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, under the calendar of business for the day, I move that we consider House Bill number 8097, contained in Committee Report number 616, and request the Secretary General to read the title of the bill. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the bill.
House Bill number 8097, an act granting additional benefits to solo parents, amending for the Purpose Republic Act number 8972, otherwise known as the Solo Parents Welfare Act of 2000.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate on House Bill number 8097.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Arlene Brosas of Gabriela Party List for her sponsorship speech. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Representative Arlene Brosas is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the amendments to RA 8972, or the Solo Parents Welfare Act, has always been one of the priority measures of Gabriela Women's Party, as it first filed the proposed amendments in 2006, or during the 13th Congress. We have continuously refiled this bill, and in fact, it is one of the first bills we have filed this 18th Congress. According to the second impact assessment of the Department of Social Welfare and Development's database, a total of 2 million individuals are solo parents. This data is conservative, considering that not all households are covered by the DSWD's list. Data considered by the DSWD from its solo parent survey from the local government units also show that only 29,219 solo parents in 9 regions were issued with identification cards, and only 21,266 of them have availed of their entitlements. RA 8972 recognizes that solo parents are among the vulnerable members of our society. They singly bear parental burden, and as such, they have special needs that vary from psychological and emotional to financial and economical that must be addressed by the state. RA 8972 provides for benefits for qualified solo parents. However, we recognize that it is truly not enough. Layunin ng panukalang batas na ito na magdagdag ng ilan pang benepisyo at pribilehiyo sa mga solo parent sa ngalan ng pagkilala sa mga pagsubok na kanilang ikinakaharap at bigat ng mag-isang nag-aaruga at sumusuporta sa kanilang mga anak. Lalo ngayon sa panahon ng pandemya ng COVID-19, sa patuloy na pagtaas ng mga bilihin kasabay ng pagbaba ng kita o kawalan ng kabuhayan, sa sunod-sunod na bagyo at sakuna, sa implementasyon ng online classes ng mga magulang, sa tahanan ang punong abala. Alam natin na ang mismong nag-iisang mga magulang na ito ang pangunahing nagpapanatili ng kaayusan sa tahanan at pamilya bilang bahagi ng lipunan, na hindi nila epektibong magagampanan kung wala ang mga proteksyon at serbisyo na makakaagapay sa pang-araw-araw nilang buhay. Gabriela Women's Party originally pushed for discounts for 10 categories, namely clothing and clothing materials, baby's milk, food and food supplements, medicines, vaccines, and other medical supplements, supplies, basic necessities, school tuition fees, school supplies, hospital bills, consultation, and laboratory diagnostic fees, and basic personal exemption from individual income tax. Ang mga ito ay ibinunga ng konsultasyon sa mga solo parents organizations, kabilang na ang nationwide organization na National Federation of Solo Parents, LUSBIMIN, ang kaisa sa karapatan at katatagan tungo sa kinabukasan 4Ks, for Solo Parents in Quezon City Incorporated, at marami pang iba. Pinagsalubong ang nilalaman ng mga panukala sa komite, at ngayon, ang ating substitute bill ay magbibigay ng benepisyo sa pamamagitan ng 10% na diskwento sa sumusunod na kategorya. Una, children's clothing materials. Ikalawa, baby's milk, food and supplements and sanitary diapers. Ikatlo, medicines, vaccines and medical supplements. Ikaapat, medical and dental services, diagnostic and laboratory fees, and professional fees. At ikalima, basic supplies. Basic school supplies. For working solo parents, the 7 days of parental leave with pay is such a big help, and this proposed measure expanded its coverage to all workers, regardless of employment status, as long as the solo parent has rendered at least 6 months of service. Malaking pakinabang at malaking hakbang din sa pagsulong ng karapatan, kagalingan, kalusugan at kabuhayan ng ating mga solo parents at ng kanilang mga anak ang nilalaman nitong panukala. I am confident that the honorable members of this Congress are all in support of the struggles of solo parents. Thus, this representation, together with the rest of the authors, hopes for the immediate passage of this bill. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize the Honorable Chairman of the Revision of Laws, the Honorable Deluz Montalia, for her sponsorship speech. Subub.
There are objection. I hear none. The motion is approved. The Honorable Jeremy Montalia is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, a pleasant afternoon to each and every one of us. I am here this afternoon to ask for your support for the approval of House Bill number 8097 as contained in Committee Report number 616, or an act granting additional benefits to solo parents, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 8972, otherwise known as the Solo Parents Welfare Act of 2000. This piece of legislative measure aims to grant additional benefits to solo parents, among others. The World Health Organization, in a recent study, noted that the Philippines has about 15 million solo parents, and 95% of these are women. This number is likely far greater today. Figures from the National Housing or Household Targeting Office of the Department of Social Welfare and Development showed that as of December 2017, there were only 2 million employed solo parents. This number may have doubled now as a result of this pandemic. The disparity in the statistics of government agencies regarding the actual number of solo parents is disturbing, considering that statistics play a vital role in the effective and efficient implementation of RA 8972. Being a solo parent is a no mean feat. Despite the hardships, solo parents are unwilling to compromise the welfare of their children. Take the case of Michelle Silvertino, a solo parent who supported her 4 young children with a job as a nurse, who was declared dead on arrival at Pasay City General Hospital in June 5, 2020, as a result of severe coronavirus infection. As a solo parent of 4, Silvertino never had the option of being unemployed. The community quarantine left her stranded for 5 days, waiting for a bus that would have ferried her home, but never arrived due to community quarantine restrictions. Despite contracting the virus, she was not brought to the hospital immediately upon being picked up by the police, who were concerned about her symptoms. Instead, he was shuttled between the barangay hall and the police station, but was never allowed to remain in one location due to her symptoms. She was eventually found unconscious on a footbridge where the icy finger of death touched her frail body. Mr. Speaker, Michelle Silvertino became the face of a solo parent who fell victim to the cruelty, the biasness and prejudices of the Filipino society to solo parents. Whether becoming a solo parent is by the death of a spouse, by choice or decision, is a matter that must not be taken against the solo parent. For parenthood, with both parents present, is a very challenging task, but parenthood with only one parent present is arduous, where the task is multiplied, if not compounded. My dear colleagues, an author of a local study in solo parenting averred that the growing number of solo parent families are now so prominent in society that they become an important subculture and they need to be accepted as a legitimate and valid unit of society. We need progressive state policies on the evolving nature of the Filipino family that will acknowledge, recognize, respect the existence of alternative families or the varying compositions of the family. It is high time for the government to take a second look at our outdated policies in order that we can uplift the lives and the status of solo parents and their children by providing them with additional benefits under the law. Mr. Speaker, the Committee on Revision of Laws, which was ably assisted by Representative Lawrence Fortun, the chairperson of the Technical Working Group, and in consultation with all the stakeholders, consolidated 22 bills of almost 100 authors, all proposing to grant additional benefits to solo parents, came up with this substitute bill, whose key provisions include, number 1, the shortening of the required period of detention or duration of a sentence, and the period of separation or abandonment of the spouse in availing the benefits provided in this act. Number 2, defining a qualified solo parent as a solo parent earning less than $250,000 annually, who may avail of the additional benefits of 10% discounts from the purchases of basic necessities of a child or children under the sole responsibility of the said qualified solo parent. Number 3, enhancing the educational benefits provided under the current law by guaranteeing full scholarship to a child of the solo parent and prioritizing the other children, if any, in the educational programs of the government. Number 4, promoting child-minding centers, breastfeeding in the workplace, and social safety assistance to all kinds of solo parents and their children. Number 5, prioritizing solo parents in livelihood, training, and poverty alleviation programs of the government. Number 6, encouraging establishments to hire qualified solo parents by providing tax incentives. Number 7, tax deductions from the gross sales or gross receipts to establishments which give discounts on the basic necessities of the children of solo parents. Number 8, ensuring the medical and health welfare of the solo parents by giving them priority in the medical, surgical services offered by government hospitals and medical facilities. Number 9, mandating local government units to create solo parent offices in every city or province or solo parent divisions, which are attached to the municipal social welfare offices for every municipality. Number 10, providing stricter requirements and monitoring of the applicant solo parent and their children through the SPO or SPD. Number 11, creating an interagency coordinating and monitoring committee, which is comprised of the different government agencies involved in providing additional benefits to the solo parents and their children. Number 12, mandating the establishment of the database consisting of information on all solo parents and their children based on the community-based monitoring system. Number 13, creating a congressional body to oversee the implementation of this proposed measure, recommend remedial legislation or executive measures to enhance or strengthen the implementation of the law. And number 14, penalizing any person who refuses or fails to provide additional benefits granted under this act or misrepresents a status or falsifies any document in order to avail of such additional benefits. Mr. Speaker, let us not allow a repeat of what happened to Michelle Silvertino. Punan po natin ang puwang na nilikha ng malupit na tadhana sa buhay at pamilya ng mga solo parents na nakagaya ni Michelle Silvertino. Being a solo parent is twice the work, twice the stress, twice the tears. Being a single parent is not a life full of struggles, but a journey for the strong. Let us join them and be with them in their journey. In this season of giving and sharing, may these solo parents find solace in the fact that the government is there to help them, to share in their hardships and struggles, and to be with them at all times as part of its huge responsibility to the nation. This is the perpetual hope, which is the reason of the season. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I implore all of you to see the reason. Let us all do our part and our shared responsibility to solo parents as the duly elected representatives of our respective legislative districts in this House of the People. Let the passage of this bill be the proof of our collective resolve to be cognizant of their plight. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, and Merry Christmas to one and all.
Thank you, Honorable Representative De Loso Montalia. Majority
Mr.
Leader.
Speaker, there being no member who wishes to interpolate the sponsor, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we now open the period of amendments. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority
Mr.
Leader.
Speaker, I move that we suspend session.
Session suspended.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we suspend consideration of House Bill number 8097. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Session suspended. Session resume.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we
Majority
resume
Leader.
consideration of 8097. Parliamentary status is that we are in the period of and request that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the bill. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the bill.
House Bill 8097, an act granting additional benefits to solo parents, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 8972, otherwise known as the Solo Parent Welfare Act of 2000.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize Representative Kit Belmonte for his individual amendment. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Representative Kit Bermonte is hereby recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, Majority Floor Leader. Will the chairman of the committee accede to a few proposed amendments? I am making these amendments on behalf of Congressman Lawrence Fortun of the minority, who is actually on his way. However, to expedite things, if the chairman will allow me to read on his behalf. Mr. Chair,
We
Your
accept, Mr. Speaker.
Amendment number 1, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, on page 10, section 12, paragraph A4, line 8, replace the phrase a solo parent into solo parents or their, hence the entire paragraph should read as follows. Medical and dental services, diagnostic and laboratory fees, and professional fees in all private hospitals, medical facilities, outpatient clinics, and healthcare services rendered to solo parents or their children or children from birth of the child until 6 years of age in accordance with the rules and regulations issued for the purpose by the DOH. That is the first proposed amendment, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
The sponsor.
We accept the proposed amendment of Honorable Belmonte, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker,
What does the House say?
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve and adopt the proposed and amendments accepted by the sponsor.
Is there an objection? Hearing none, the amendments approved.
For the second amendment, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, on the same page, page 10, section 12, line 18, insert the following paragraphs. 6. Utilization of water and electricity supplied by public utilities, provided that the individual meters for the foregoing utilities are registered in the name of the solo parent residing therein, provided further that the monthly consumption does not exceed 100 kilowatt hours of electricity and 30 cubic meters of water, provided further that the privilege is granted per household regardless of the number of solo parents residing therein. That is the second proposed. Number 7, fares for land transportation travel in public utility vehicles. Number 8, actual fares for domestic air transport services and sea shipping vessels. And number 9, goods and services in restaurants, recreational centers, hotels, and similar lodging establishments. That is the second amendment, Mr. Speaker. Your Honor.
What does the sponsor say?
We accept, Mr. Speaker.
The Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve the proposed amendments as accepted by the sponsor. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there an objection? Hearing none, the amendments carried. The Honorable Kit Belmonte.
For the third proposed amendment, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, on the same page, page 10, section 12, line 40, delete the word children's. I so propose, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Accept,
The,
Mr. Speaker.
Sponsor. The Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve the amendments proposed and accepted by the sponsor. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the amendments carried. Honorable Kit Belmonte.
For the fourth and last amendment as proposed by the Honorable Lawrence Fortun, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, on the same page, page 10, section 12, line 41, insert the phrase and their children or children after the phrase solo parents, and then delete the proviso, so the entire paragraph shall read as follows. in the purchase of goods and services on promotional discount, solo parents and their children or children may avail of such discount or the discount provided herein, whichever is highest. I so propose, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
What does the sponsor say?
We accept the proposed amendment of Honorable Kit Belmonte.
Mr. Speaker,
Majority
I move that we approve the amendments proposed and accepted by the sponsor. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, and the motion is approved. The amendment is carried.
On behalf of the Honorable Lawrence Fortun, I would like to thank the chairman and the majority and the House for accepting this amendment. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Thank you, Honorable Kit Belmonte. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no other member who wants to propose individual amendments, I move that we close the period of amendments. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we vote on second reading, House Bill number 8097. So move, Mr. Speaker.
All those who are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
For those who are not in favor, say nay. The ayes have it. Said House Bill is passed on second reading.
Thank
As
you,
amended.
Mr. Speaker. Merry Christmas po sa ating lahat.
Merry Christmas. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Bill numbers 8145, contained Committee Report number 629, and request the Secretary General to read the title of the House Bill. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the bill.
House Bill 8145, an act extending the implementation of the lifeline rate, amending for the purpose Section 73 of Republic Act Number 9136 as amended, otherwise known as the Electric Power Industry Reform Act of 2001.
Majority Leader.
Speaker, I move that we now open the period of sponsorship and debate. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there an objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize Honorable Apid de los Santos of Provinciano Party List to sponsor House Bill number 8145.
The Honorable Apid de los Santos is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May the explanatory note of the bill be considered as my sponsorship speech. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no interpellators for House Bill number 8145, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority
Mr.
Leader.
Speaker, I move that we now open the period of committee amendments.
Is there an objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no committee amendments, I move that we proceed to the individual amendments.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority
Mr.
Leader.
Speaker, there being no member who wishes to propose individual amendments, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority
Mr.
Leader.
Speaker, I move that we vote on second reading, House Bill number 8145. So move, Mr. Speaker.
All those who are in favor, say aye. Aye. For those who are not in favor, say nay. The ayes have it. Said House Bill is passed on second reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Bill number 8149 under Committee Report number 63 and direct the Secretary General to read the title of the bill. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the bill.
House Bill 8149, an act instituting a new Filipino gesture of respect, goodwill, and praise.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize Honorable Bayani Fernando of the 1st District of Marikina for his sponsorship speech. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Bayani Fernando is hereby recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And my explanatory note will serve as my sponsorship speech. I think everyone, anyway, is aware of this Bating Filipino as we had it approved as a resolution early on, about February, before the onset of the COVID pandemic. So the timing was quite right, but we opted to have this now to be approved by the House as a House bill instead of a resolution. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Fernando. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no member who wishes to interpellate the sponsor, I move that we terminate the period of sponsorship and debate.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved.
Mr.
Majority
Speaker,
Leader.
I move that we open the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of committee amendments.
Leader. Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved.
Mr.
Majority
Speaker,
Leader.
there being no committee amendments, we proceed to the individual amendment. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no member who wishes to propose individual amendments, I move that we close the period of amendments. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 8149. So move, Mr. Speaker.
There. All those are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
For those are against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 8149 is approved on second reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Bill number 1436 and request the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the resolution.
The Secretary General is directed to read the title of the measure.
House Resolution 1436, resolution expressing the profound condolences of the House of Representatives to the family of the late Ricardo Bacunawa Batalid, former Assemblyman representing Region 5 during the interim Batasang Pambansa.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we adopt House Resolution number 1436. So move, Mr. Speaker.
All those are in favor? The objection. I hear that. The motion is approved. Said House Resolution is hereby adopted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Bill number 8216 contained in Committee Report number 664 and request the Secretary General to read the title of the House bill. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the bill.
House Bill 8216, an act mandating owners or operators of hotels and resorts with swimming pools and beachfront facilities to employ the services of certified lifeguards and providing penalties for violations thereof.
Majority Leader.
Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority
Mr.
Leader.
Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Chairman of the Committee on Tourism, Representative Sol Aragones of San Pablo City. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Chairperson, Sol Aragones, is hereby recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I am sponsoring House Bill number 8216, not only as your chairperson of the Committee on Tourism, which considered and approved this bill, but likewise as the principal proponent of this measure. Your Honors, tourism has become one of the major and fast-growing industries in the country, contributing significantly to our economic growth. But our tourism industry was one of the worst hit industries because of the COVID-19 pandemic. For the past 8 months or so, tourism in the country was practically at a standstill. Now, domestic tourism is slowly being revived as our tourist destinations are now starting to open up and tourism-related economic activities are gaining ground. However, the pandemic has brought about changes in the market demands and preferences of tourists. Many of our tourists would now want to go to places and destinations that are less crowded and just swim in our beautiful beaches or go on staycations in hotels or resorts and enjoy a dip in their pools. This is why we have to ensure our tourists and guests are protected and safe while using and enjoying these facilities. This representation introduced House Bill 8216 with the objective of ensuring the protection and safety of tourists who go on vacation or short breaks in hotels or resorts and use their swimming pools or beachfront facilities. Many of these vacationers are families, particularly now that the children and senior citizens are already permitted to go on vacation, or groups who go out to relax and spend some bonding time with friends. While swimming in pools and beaches can certainly be exciting and can offer fun activities, it can, however, pose a threat and can result to serious injuries and even death if proper safety protocols are not established and followed. As such, Mr. Speaker, House Bill number 8216 seeks to mandate hotel or resort owners and operators with swimming pools and beachfront facilities to employ the services of lifeguards for every 250 square meters of swimming area. These lifeguards must likewise be properly trained and certified by such reputable agencies as the Department of Health, Philippine Coast Guard, or the Philippine Red Cross. Moreover, the bill also provides certain penalties and fines for violation of these provisions once it becomes a law. It is our hope, Your Honors, that with this measure, accidents will be prevented. The protection and safety of the pool swimmers and our beach-going public will be ensured, and the state of readiness of the swimming areas will be maintained. With this, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, we earnestly seek your support for the approval and passage of this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, at magandang hapon po.
Thank you, Honorable Aragones. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no member of the House who wishes to interpolate the honorable sponsor, we move for the termination of the period of sponsorship and debate.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of committee amendments.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no committee amendment, we proceed to the period of individual amendment.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
There being no committee individual amendments, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 8216. So move, Mr. Speaker.
All those are in favor, say aye. All those are against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 8216 is approved on second reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we are in receipt of the Bicameral Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of House Bill number 6816 and Senate Bill number 1849, Bill ensuring Philippine financial industry resiliency against the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Speaker, in accordance with our rules, I move that we ratify the said Bicameral Conference Committee report. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider the adoption of House Bill number 1417 contained in Committee Report number 665 and request the Secretary General to read the title of the House resolution. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the bill.
House Resolution 1417, resolution urging the Department of Transportation to defer the implementation of cashless toll payments through radio frequency identification system until such time that the systems are ready to be fully operational and are inoperable.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we now open the period of sponsorship and debate on House Bill number 1417. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none that the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize Honorable Representative Edgar Sarmiento, Chairman of the Committee on Transportation, for his sponsorship.
The Honorable Chairman Edgar Sarmiento is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Majority Leader. This representation, Mr. Speaker, as a chairman on the Committee on Transportation, would like to sponsor Committee Report 665 under House Resolution 1417. A resolution, Mr. Speaker, urging the Department of Transportation to defer the implementation of cashless toll payment through the radio frequency identification system until January of 2021 for the kind consideration, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize Honorable Franz Castro of ACT Teachers Party List for her interpellation. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Franz Castro is hereby recognized.
Maraming salamat, Ginoong Speaker. Ang kinatawan po bang ito ay papayagan ng kagalang-galang na sponsor na maglinaw dito sa resolusyon. Bagamat, Mr. Speaker, ako po ay sang-ayon doon sa deferment ng pagpapatupad ng mandatory cashless using the RFID. Pero minarapat ko po, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong sponsor, na magtanong ng ilang mga paglilinaw kaugnay nitong RFID na ito para malinawan po ng ating mga kababayan kaugnay nito. Pangalawa po, binabati ko po ang ating kagalang-galang na sponsor na siyang chairman ng ating Committee on Transportation sa pagbibigay ng inisyatiba para ito ay maimbestigahan. At makapag-come up po tayo, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong sponsor ng resolution po na magiging kapaki-pakinabang sa ating mga mamamayan. So yung unang tanong, Mr. Speaker, ano po ba yung coverage nitong deferment na ito ng RFID?
Mr. Speaker, kagalang-galang na Honorable Franz Castro, ang coverage po nito ay lahat po ng expressways, no? Hiningi po muna natin, lalo na po sa NLEX, na i-defer muna kasi hindi pa nga po handa ang sistema po nila.
Okay. Yung po bang pinopropose nating sistema, Mr. Speaker, ito po ba ay later on, magko-cover po ito ng both? Halimbawa po, later on, makaka-develop ng isang sistema for SLEX and NLEX kaya?
Tama po yan. Yan pong para po sa kaalaman po ng lahat, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Castro, ito pong ginagawa po natin ay binibigyan po natin ng kahulugan talaga ang trabaho po ng Toll Regulatory Board na dapat po gawin po nila talaga ang trabaho at nararapat po.
Okay. Para po sa kaalaman ng ating mamamayan, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong sponsor, ilan po ba yung araw-araw na nagko-commute o gumagamit ng NLEX?
Doon po sa sinasabi na report ng NLEX Management, sumosobra po sa 1 milyon na sasakyan. Ito po is pre-COVID. No? Pero Mr. Speaker, Honorable Castro, ngayon po sa panahon po ng COVID, bumaba po ang volume nila. Sinasabo po nila nasa 400,000. Pero ngayon po na bumabalik na naman po ekonomiya, bumabalik na naman po more or less po sa naglalapit po sa 1,000,000.
Nakuha po ba natin, Mr. Speaker, ginong sponsor, kung magkano po kaya yung kinikita noong NLEX sa arawan? O meron po ba tayong data kaugnay nung revenues na de-derive?
Yun po yung hinihingi natin. Kanya lang, Mr. Speaker, hindi pa po nabibigay ng management ng NLEX. Pero sumulat na po tayo sa kanila tungkol po rito sa revenue na kinikita po ng NLEX management sa arawan po.
Ginoong Speaker, natanong ko lang po ito, no, dahil ako po ay dumadaan parate dito sa NLEX. At namomonitor ko po yung presyuhan o yung pagtaas ng toll fee parate dito sa NLEX. At napapansin ko, Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor, na talagang parang madalas yung pagtaas. Inabot ko nga dyan yung 45, naging 54, naging 58 yung toll fee. Meron po ba tayong kasama po ba sa resolusyon or sa pag-iimbestiga natin, ginoong Speaker, ginoong sponsor, yung kaugnay doon sa kung paano po nade-determine yung pagpipresyo ng toll fee?
Hindi po natin isama po rito sa resolution o Mr. Speaker. Kanya lang dito po sa ginagawang technical working group hearing po natin tungkol po rito sa interoperability ng expressways, isasama po natin po yan na Honorable Castro.
Thank you po, ginoong sponsor, ginoong Speaker. Natutuwa po ako na maisama natin ito kasi parang sa tingin po natin sa mga pangkaraniwang commuter na dumadaan po sa NLEX, parang nagiging too much o nagiging burden sa kanila yung madalas na pagtaas nitong toll fee. At hindi natin malaman, Mr. Speaker, kung paano, 'di ba? Hindi pa natin alam kung gaano na yung kinikita nitong nitong NLEX na ito. So, ilan na lang pong katanungan isa po sa nakita ko dito ay yung toll regulatory board. Mr. Speaker, meron palang ganito, ngayon ko lang parang narinig yung kanyang yung kanyang function na hindi natin naririnig. Ako sinasang-ayunan ko si Mayor Rex Gatchalian doon sa Valenzuela. Doon sa sinasabi niya na talagang may kakulangan ang TRB. At itong talaga nagdulot talaga ng perwisyo sa mga mamamayan. Itong pagpapatupad ng RFID. So, Mr. Speaker, ako po ay tutol po ako dun sa mandatory na pagpapatupad nitong RFID dahil alam po natin, Mr. Speaker, may karapatan ang bawat mamamayan na mamili kung ano yung kanyang kakayanin na sistema. Kaya ang huli ko pong tanong kay sa ating pong ginoong sponsor, kaya po sa mga susunod po natin na mga pagdinig, pwede po ba na mai-assert natin yung karapatan ng ating mga mamamayan para sa pagpili? Kasi ginagawa po kasi itong mandatory, Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor.
Salamat po, kagalang-galang na Castro. Mr. Speaker, napaka-importante po ng sinasabi po ng interpellator natin. Saka naman po ng lahat, nung pinalabas po ang Department Order 2020-12 ng Department of Transportation noong Agosto po, ang Kamara, the House of Representatives, tayo nagka-hearing kaagad rito noong September. At sinasabi po ng resource persons natin, dito po specifically, ng Department of Trade and Industry na hindi po sila sang-ayon na talaga pong full RFID kasi kailangan po bibigyan po natin ng option yung cash lane. At kami sang-ayon po ron sa sinasabi po ng Department of Trade and Industry. Dito po sa Kamara, the House of Representatives, hindi pa napapag-usapan ng counterpart. Binigyan na po natin ng lunas kasi nakikita na po natin na mangyayari po at nangyari na po, napahirapan po ang mamamayan. Kanya lang nahuli na po ang ginawa nilang pagpayag sa pakiusap natin na huwag munang isirado kasi hindi kaya. Ngayon bumalik po tayo sa cash. Sayang po kasi nagkaroon po ng chaos na pahirapan ng publiko. Dapat po sana pag may programa ang gobyerno, lalo't lalo na rito sa transportation, sana uunahin mo ng sistema, huwag mo nang ikawawa ang publiko po.
Sumasang-ayon po ako, no, Mr. Speaker, sa tinuran po ng ating sponsor na dapat bigyan po no, ng plano bago siguro nagpatupad o nagbigay ng mga deadline ang NLEX at yung TRB na yan sa ating mga mamamayan, dapat nagkaroon talaga ng plano. Alam niyo po sa aking pagre-research, may ilang mga bansa. Halimbawa po ang USA, it took them 3 years para po talagang totally mailagay yung plano ng kanilang mga cashless mga toll lane. Kaya po tayo parang 3 months or 6 months, hindi po talaga sapat yung panahon, at syempre po ako po bilang isang consumer, dapat po mabigyan po later on mabigyan yung ating mga mamamayan ng choice, whether it is RFID or ito ay cash, at dapat hindi mawala din yung option na cash, lalong-lalo na po dun sa mga commuter natin na hindi rin naman gaanong dumadaan doon sa NLEX. So ito na lang po, Mr. Speaker. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa ating sponsor, sa ating chairman, Chairman Sarmiento ng Committee on Transportation sa mga paglilinaw ng kinatawang ito, at para makita rin po ng ating mga mamamayan na ang kapulungang ito ay talagang nakikipaglaban para po sa kapakanan ng ating mga mamamayan, lalong-lalo na po yung mga gumagamit ng NLEX. Salamat po, Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor.
Thank you, Honorable Francis.
Mr. Speaker, ako po ay nagpapasalamat rin sa kinatawan po ng ACT Teachers Party List sa mga tanong niya para maintindihan po ng mamamayan ano pong ginagawa ng Kamara tungkol po rito sa RFID. Maraming salamat, Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to adopt the findings and recommendation as contained in the committee report number 638 of House Resolution number 1409. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there an objection? I hear none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adoption of House Resolution 1409. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there an objection? I hear none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker,
Session suspended.
1 minute suspension, please.
Session resume. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we now proceed to consider House Resolution number 1417 as contained in Committee Report number 665. I request
Taas. We have already adopted 1417.
1 minute suspension, Mr. Speaker.
Session suspended. Session resume. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adoption of House Resolution number 1417 as contained in Committee Report number 665. So, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration of House Resolution number 1409 as contained in Committee Report number 638. I request the Secretary General to read the title of the House Resolution. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the measure.
House Resolution 1409, resolution urging the Department of Transportation to increase the number of roadworthy public utility vehicles to address the transportation shortage and provide the necessary support in the government's effort to revive the economy, subject to existing health protocols and such other requirements as may be imposed by the Interagency Task Force for Emerging Infectious Diseases and the National Task Force Against COVID-19.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adoption of the findings and recommendation as contained in the committee report number 638 of House Resolution number 1409. So move, Mr.
Is
Speaker.
there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
One minute suspension, Mr. Speaker.
Session suspended.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we reconsider the adoption of House Bill
Session
number
resumed.
1409.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that for the reconsideration of the adoption of House Bill number 1409.
Any objection hearing
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Representative Edgar Sarmiento of the Committee on Transportation for his sponsorship of the measure.
The Honorable Chairman, Edgar Sarmiento, is hereby recognized.
Mr. Speaker, this representation would like to sponsor Committee Report 638 under House Resolution 1409. A resolution, Mr. Speaker, urging the Department of Transportation to increase the number of roadworthy public utility vehicles to address the transportation shortage and provide the necessary support in the government effort to revive the economy. Kind consideration of the approval of the committee report is by this representation, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize Representative Franz Castro of ACT Teachers Party List for her interpellation. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Franz Castro is hereby recognized.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Speaker. Ang kinatawang pong ito ay sumusuporta sa ating chairman ng Committee on Transportation muli doon sa pag-initiate ng ganitong resolution at ang committee para po mataasan yung capacity po ng ating mga public utility vehicle. Isa po ako doon sa advocates na sana po ay yung ating mga drivers, yung ating transportation ay talagang mapagana na dahil kahit naman po panahon ng pandemya, kailangan pong ring sumulong yung ating ekonomiya. At isa sa susi para ito ay sumulong ay yung mobilization ng mga tao, mobilization ng mga workers, ng mga produkto at iba pa. So, papayagan po ba ng ating sponsor ang ilang mga paglilinaw kaugnay po doon sa findings ng resolution, Mr. Speaker?
Opo, Mr. Speaker, Madam Interpellator.
So, ito po bang resolution na ito covers all kinds of public utility vehicles?
Kasama po lahat ng public utility vehicle. Hinihingi po natin iangat sana ang numero dahil nga bumabalik na ekonomiya.
So, kasama po ba dito, Mr. Speaker, ginawang sponsor yung mga provincial buses natin?
Provincial buses, lahat po hinihingi rin natin.
Okay, kasi po, Mr. Speaker, yung mga provincial buses ay talagang pangangailangan na ito ng ating mga mamamayan. Lalong-lalo na po, marami naman pong mga lugar sa ating bansa na low risk naman na sa COVID-19. Bagamat siyempre, priority pa rin natin na mapangalagaan yung kalusugan ng ating mamamayan at may adya yung ating mga mamamayan from COVID-19. Pero with the proper and strict implementation of health protocol, so maganda ring masama na natin yung mga public utility vehicle na maka-move on. So, halimbawa po doon sa mga jeepney, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor, ano po ba yung pinopropose natin increased capacity sa mga jeepneys natin?
Nung una po, Mr. Speaker, nung pinayagan na po ang public transportation at binaba po tayo sa GCQ, nung una po ay luging-lugi po kasi 1 meter distance, practically 30% lang po ang ridership. Pagkatapos po ito inangat to 50%. Sana naman kami nakikiusap, kung may barrier lang, pwede na po siguro na magkaroon na ng full capacity basta may plastic barriers lang. No? Pwede naman ilagay siguro 1 inch lang po. Pwede naman po, Mr. Speaker.
Ganun po ba rin, Mr. Speaker, sa mga bases natin?
Yung sa mga bases naman po, balikan ko lang, Mr. Speaker, kagalang-galang na Castro, yung provincial bases, kung mababasan niyo po kahapon, pinayagan na po sila, nagagawa lang po ng guideline ng LTFRB doon sa point-to-point. Pero ako'y nakikiusap po sa IATF dahil po sa natatanggap natin na sulat sa mga may-ari po ng provincial bases na luging-lugi na po sila, 9 na buwan, wala po silang kita. Kaya nasama po natin to sa trabaho natin at buti naman napayagan na. Balik po tayo rito po sa tanong natin, kasama po yung provincial bases. Total naman, kung mapapansin po, may mandatory requirement naman. Basta importante magsuot po tayo ng mask at saka yung face shield. Kanya lang, Mr. Speaker, kagalang-galang na Castro, iintayin po natin yung IATF tungkol po rito kung pwede na ba i-increase pa natin ang kapasidad po ng bases.
Okay, salamat po Ginoong Sponsor. No? Bukod sa increasing the capacity, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor, mahalaga din po na dapat may 100% ng mapayagan yung ating mga public utility jeep, mga vehicles at iba pa dahil ako po ay dumadaan sa Commonwealth yung aking pong ruta na jeep na sinasakyan, yung Novaliches to Quezon City. Hindi pa po sila pinapayagan, Mr. Speaker, ng LTFRB na pumasada. At nakikita natin yung mga driver dito na nakakalat sa lansangan at nangingi at nanlilimos na. So, siguro po maari din po na mamungkahi na sana payagan na 100% yung ating mga public utility jeep na makapamasada kung masusunod lang yung mga health protocol at syempre yung sinasabing roadworthiness. So, sinusuportahan ko po ito, Mr. Speaker, at nagpapasalamat po ako dito sa ating sponsor, sa ating chairman ng Committee on Transportation sa ganitong inisyatiba. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Ulitin ko po, maraming salamat kagalang-galang na Castro.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adoption of House Resolution number 1409 together with the findings and recommendations contained in Committee Report number 638.
Is there an objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
1 minute suspension, Mr. Speaker.
Session suspended. Session resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the House and the Senate
have approved on third reading House Bill number 8136 and Senate Bill number 1396, respectively, declaring the coconut levy assets as a trust fund, providing for its management and utilization. We have been informed that the Committee on Agriculture, sponsor of House Bill number 8136, as well as the authors thereof, is in concurrence with the provisions of Senate Bill number 1396. In accordance with our rules, I move that we adopt Senate Bill number 1396 as an amendment to the House Bill number 8136. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we are in receipt of a message from the Senate informing the House that the Senate passed with amendments House Bill number 6656, extending the availability of the 2020 appropriations to December 31, 2021. We have been informed that the Committee on Appropriations, sponsor of House Bill number 6656, as well as the authors thereof, is in concurrence with the amendments introduced thereto by the Senate. Mr. Speaker, in accordance with the rules, I move that we concur with the Senate amendments to House Bill number 6656. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Amendments to House Bill number 6656 is adopted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we are in receipt of a message from the Senate informing the House that the Senate passed with amendments House Bill number 8063, extending the availability of appropriations for the Bayanihan to recover as one act. We have been informed that the Committee on Appropriations, sponsor of House Bill number 8063, as well as the authors thereof, is in concurrence with the amendments introduced thereto by the Senate. Mr. Speaker, in accordance with the rules, I move that we concur with the Senate amendments to House Bill number 8063. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Amendments on House Bill number 8063 is adopted.
A minute
Leader.
suspension, Mr. Speaker.
Session suspended. Session resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration on third reading of House Bills number 8040 and 8041, copies of which were distributed to the members pursuant to the rules of the House. For this purpose, may I request that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the bills and thereafter to call the roll for nominal voting. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the bill.
House Bill 8040, an act integrating the Consolacion Community College in the Municipality of Consolacion, Province of Cebu, into Cebu Technological University to be known as the CTU Consolacion Campus and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill 8041, an act establishing the Indigenous Peoples Resource and Training Center in Nueva Vizcaya State University, defining its function and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call of members in consideration of House Bill numbers 8040 and 8041. Abante, Abaya, Abellanosa, Abu Exaldivar, Abunda, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advincula, Agabas, Agaraw, Aglipay, Aguinaldo, Albano, Almario, Alonte, Alvarez Franz, Alvarez Senaro, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante Matba, Amatong, Angara, Aragones, Arbison, Arenas, Arroyo, Atienza, Umentado, Babasa, Bagatsing, Balindong, Banyas, Nograles, Barba, Barbers, Baronda, Berzaga, Bascug, Bautista, Bautista Bandigan, Belmonte, Benitez, Bernos, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bolilla, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo, Brosas, Bulot, Bustos, Kabatbat, Kabuchan, Cabredo, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Kawagdan, Cardema, Cari, Castelo, Castro Franz, Castro Fedinil, Cayetano Alan Peter Compañero, Cayetano Maria Laarni, Celeste, Chato, Chipeco, Chungalao, Co Angelica, Co Elizalde, Cuanco, Colyantes, Crisologo, Cuwa, Quaresma, Cueva, Colyamat, Dagook, Dalipe, Dalog, Dasa, De Jesus, De Venecia, Defensor Lawrence, Defensor Michael, De Los Santos, De Los Montalya, Demaporo Abdullah, Demaporo Muhammad Khalid, Duavit, Duhali, Duterte, Di Faustino Ino, Di Faustino Michael III, D. Ian Paul, Ebcas, Ecleo, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Fariñas Ria, Fariñas Rudy Caesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Fer Juliet, Fer Luis, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Frasco, Fuentebella, Gaite, Garbin, Garcia Jose Enrique, Garcia Pablo Jan, Garcia Vincent, Garin Janet, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchalian, Gato, Heron, Go Ed, Go Mark, Gonzaga, Gonzales, Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Neptali, Gonzales Sandro, Guruseta, Gico, Gullas, Guya, Haresco, Hataman, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Halusos, Javier, Jimenez, Ko Elisa, Ko Wilton, Kong Hun, Labad Labad, Lacson, Lacson Noel, Lagman, Lagon, Lara, Lasatin, Leachon, Legarda, Lim, Lim Kaichong, Lopez, Loyola, Losotan, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Mangawang, Magunda Dato, Marcoleta, Mariano Hernandez, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Matba, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Momo, Natividad Nagaño, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles, Jericho, Nograles, Juan Fidel, Nolasco, Nunez Malañaon, Waminal, Olivares, Ongse, Ongroni, Ordanes, Ortega, Uwano Dizon, Pacquiao Alberto, Pacquiao Rogelio, Padjernos, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panotes, Peña, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Puno, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramirez Sato, Remulla, Revilla, Reyes, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez, Roman, Romero, Romualdez Ferdinand, Romualdez Yeda Marie, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Sanchez, Sancopan, Santos Recto, Sarmiento, Saulug, Sevillano, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Singson Mihan, Tinsuat, Swansing Estrelita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez Aleta, Suarez David, Suntay, C. Alvarado, Taduran, Talyado, Tambunting, Tan Alisa, Tan Angelina, Tan Shamir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherni, Tejada, Teves Arnulfo, Teves Jose, Tiangco, Tolentino, Torres Gomez, Tulfo, Tupas, Tutor, T. Alan, T. Diego, Umali Alfonso, Umali Maria Victoria, Unabia, Ungab, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Valeriano, Valmayor, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velasco, Veloso, Vergara, Villa, Villafuerte, Villanueva, Brother Eddie, Villanueva Noel, Villar, Villaras Suarez, Villarica, Violago, Yap Eric, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora, Ronaldo Zamora Waikorat, Zarate, Zubiri. Second call for House Bill number 8041 and 8040. Honorable members, Abaya, Abueg Zaldivar, Acosta, Agaraw, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amatong, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Banyas Nograles, Baronda, Berzaga, Bautista, Bernos, Biron, Bulot, Calderon, Calixto, Caminero, Canama, Cardema, Cari, Chungalao, Co Elizalde, Cuanco, Crisologo, Cua, Dalipe, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, Duavit, Ebcas, Erice, Ermita Buhain, Espino, Fernandez, Flores, Garin, Sharon Gatchalian, Gonzaga, Gonzales Neptali, Gonzales Sandro, Gico, Guya, Haresco, Javier, Jimenez, Co Wilton, Kong Elisa, Kong Hun, Madrona, Marcoleta, Mariño, Marquez, Matba, Mercado, Nava, Nograles Juan, Nolasco, Núñez Malañaon, Waminal, Ortega, Panotes, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Romero, Romulo, Sakdalan, Sagarbarias, Sakaluran, Salceda, Silverio, Suarez, Aleta, Suntay, Si Alvarado, Talyado, Tan Angelina, Tan Shamir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherni, Tejada, Teves Arnulfo, Teves Jose, Tiangco, Torres Gomez, Tulfo, T. Alan, Uy Juliet, Veloso, Villa, Villafuerte, Villanueva, Villara Suarez, Villarica, Ya Victor, Yu.
The result of the nominal voting on House Bill numbers 8040 and 8041, affirmative 204, negative 0, abstention 0. House Bill number 0840 and 8041 is approved on third and final reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend consideration for approval of bills on third reading. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there an objection? I hear none, and the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the reconsideration of the approval on second reading of House Bill number 7950.
Is there an objection? I hear none, and the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we reconsider the termination of the period of amendments of House Bill number 7950.
Is there an objection? I hear none, and the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider on second reading House Bill number 7950 as contained in Committee Report number 571, and may we direct the Secretary General to read the title of the bill. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the House Bill number 7950.
House Bill 7950, an act creating a system of partnership between local government and civil society organizations through the establishment of a People's Council in every local government unit, prescribing its powers and functions and providing for its participation in the local sanggunian and local boards, councils, committees, task force, and similar work groups.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
Is there an objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Representative Rida Robes, Chair of the Committee on People's Participation, to sponsor House Bill number 7950. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Chairman, Rida Robes, hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that we recognize the Honorable Minority Leader, Joseph Paduano, to introduce amendments to House Bill number 7950.
The Honorable Minority Leader, Joseph Paduano, is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentle lady from San Jose del Monte, Bulacan, yield some amendments, Mr. Speaker?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I'm very much willing to yield with the request of our Minority Deputy Speaker, Paduano.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Madam Sponsor. Speaker, my first amendment is on page 5, line 13, section 14. Mr. Speaker, I propose to delete all the content of section 14, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker,
What does
I
the,
do accept
committee
the
chair
deletion. Yes, Mr. Speaker, sorry.
What does the committee chair says?
Mr. Speaker, I am welcoming the deletion of our honorable colleague here, Mr. Speaker. Accepted.
What about the House?
Mr. Speaker, we concur to the amendments. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none that the motion is approved. The amendments is carried.
Thank you, Mr.
The Honorable
Speaker.
Paduano.
Thank you, Majority Floor Leader. My next amendment, Mr. Speaker, from sponsor is on page 6, line 21, section 22, titled Repealing Clause. Delete all the content of the first sentence, Mr. Speaker, Madam Sponsor.
What does the chairwoman say?
Mr. Speaker, I again accept the deletion of the honorable colleague of ours. It is accepted again. Thank you,
How about
Mr.
the
Speaker.
House?
Mr. Speaker, on the part of the majority, we concur to the proposed amendments. So move.
Is there any objection? I hear none that the motion is approved. Amendments carried. Majority Leader. Minority Leader, Paduano.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, on page 4, section 12, powers and responsibilities of the People's Council. On page 5, line 1, letter C, to delete the word vote. Mr. Speaker, Madam Sponsor.
Sponsor.
Mr. Speaker, again, I concur and accept the deletion of the amendments given by our colleague here, the Deputy Minority Speaker, and again, it is accepted.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, on the part of the majority, I concur to the proposed amendments. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there an objection? I hear none that the motion is approved. Amendments carried. The Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, just to be consistent with all the amendments being introduced and accepted by the sponsor. On the same section, Mr. Speaker, section 12, page 5, line 3, to delete the word vote, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Sponsor.
Mr. Speaker, again, I do accept the deletion for the word vote as introduced by our honorable colleague here. Again, it is accepted, Mr. Speaker.
For the House, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the majority, I concur to do the proposed amendments.
There an objection? I hear none. The motion is approved. The amendments carried. Majority Leader. One more. The Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader. Thank you, Madam Sponsor.
Thank you, Minority Leader Joseph Paduano.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like, on behalf of our colleague here, Congressman Bordado, would like to thank the August body for this opportunity in taking off the amendments. Thank you so much, and again, Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas, Apo Chairman Rida, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no other member who wishes to propose individual amendments, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that we vote on second reading House Bill number 7950.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. All those are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those are negative, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 7950 is approved on second reading. As amended. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration and third reading of House Bill number 8077. Pursuant to the rules of the House, for this purpose, may I request the Secretary General read the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the measure.
House Bill Number 8077, an act reclassifying as agricultural land a parcel of land of the public domain situated in Lourdes, Alibudhid, province of Misamis Oriental, to be utilized as the site of the Science and Technology Park of the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines. Roll call of members in consideration of House Bill Number 8077. Abante, Abaya, Abellanosa, Abu, Abueg Zaldivar, Abunda, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advincula, Agabas, Agaraw, Aglipay, Aguinaldo, Albano, Almario, Alonte, Alvarez France, Alvarez Senaro, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amat Dematba, Amatong, Angara, Aragones, Arbison, Arenas, Arroyo, Atienza, Umentado, Babasa, Bagatsing, Balindong, Banyas Nograles, Barba, Barbers, Baronda, Bersaga, Bascug, Bautista, Bautista Bandigan, Belmonte, Benitez, Bernos, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bolilla, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo, Brosas, Bulot, Bustos, Kabatbat, Cabochan, Cabredo, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cawagdan, Cardema, Cari, Castelo, Castro France, Castro Fredinil, Cayetano Alan Peter Compañero, Cayetano Maria Laarni, Celeste, Chato, Chipeco, Chungalao, Coangelica, Coalzaldi, Cuanco, Collantes, Crisologo, Cuwa, Cuaresma, Cueva, Culyamat, Dagook, Dalipe, Dalog, Dasade, Sus, De Venecia, Defensor Lawrence, Defensor Michael, De Los Santos, De Loso Montalya, De Maporo Abdullah, De Maporo Muhammad Khalid, Duavit, Duhali, Duterte, Di Faustino Ino, Di Faustino Michael III, D. Ian Paul, Ebcas, Ecleo, Ilago, Enverga, Erice, Ergel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Fariñas Ria, Fariñas Rudy Cesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Fer Luis, Flores Fortuno, Frasco, Fuentebella, Gaite, Garbin, Garcia, Jose Enrique, Garcia Pablajan, Garcia Vincent, Garin Janet, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchalian, Gato, Heron, Go, Edgo, Mark, Gonzaga, Gonzales, Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Neptali, Gonzales Sandro, Goreseta, Gico Gulyas, Guya, Haresco, Hataman, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Haluso, Xavier Jimenez Co, Elisa Co, Wilton, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lacson Noel, Lagman, Lagon, Lara, Lasatin, Liachon, Legarda, Limlim, Kaychong, Lopez, Loyola, Losotan, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Mangawang, Magundadato, Marcoleta, Mariano Hernandez, Marino, Marquez, Martinez, Matba, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Momo, Natividad Naganyo, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles, Jericho, Nograles, Juan Fidel, Nolasco, Núñez Malanyaon, Waminal, Olivares, Ong Jose, Ong Ronnie, Ordanes, Ortega, Uwano Dizon, Pacquiao Alberto, Pacquiao Rogelio, Padiernos, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panotes, Peña, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Puno, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramirez, Sato, Remulla, Revilla, Reyes, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez, Roman, Romero, Romualdez Ferdinand, Romualdez Yeda Marie, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Sanchez, Sancupan, Santos Recto, Sarmiento, Saulug, Saveliano, Xiao Silverio, Singson Mihan, Sinsuat, Swansing Estrelita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez Aleta, Suarez David, Suntay, Si Alvarado, Taduran Talyado, Tambunting, Tan Alisa, Tan Angelina, Tan Shamir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Teves Arnulfo, Teves Jose, Tiangco, Tolentino, Torres Gomez, Tulfo, Tupachutor, T. Alan, T. Diego, Umali Alfonso, Umali Maria Victoria, Unabia, Ungab, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Valeriano, Valmayor, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velasco, Veloso, Vergara, Villa, Villafuerte, Villanueva, Brother Eddie, Villanueva, Noel, Villar, Villara Suarez, Villarica, Violago, Yap Eric, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Ronaldo, Zamora Waikorat, Zarate, Zubiri. Second call for House Bill number 8077. Abaya, Acosta, Agaraw, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amatong, Amentado, Bañas Nograles, Baronda Bersaga, Bautista, Bernos, Biron, Bulot, Calderon, Calixto, Caminero, Canama, Cardema, Chungalao, Coelizalde, Cuanco, Crisologo, Cuwa, Dalipe, De Jesus de Venecia, Duavit, Ebcas, Erice, Ermita Buain, Espino, Fernandez, Flores, Gatchalian, Gonzaga, Gonzales, Neptali, Gonzales, Sandro, Gico, Guya, Jaresco, Javier Jimenez, Konghun, Madrona, Marcoleta, Mariño, Marquez, Matba, Mercado, Nava, Nograles, Juan Fidel, Nolasco, Núñez Malañaon, Waminal, Ortega, Panotes, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Romero, Romulo, Rosacdalan, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Silverio, Suarez, Aleta, Suntay, si Alvarado, Talyado, Tan Angelina, Tan Shamir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Teves Arnulfo, Teves Jose, Tiangco, Torres Gomez, Tulfo, T. Alan, Uy Juliet, Veloso, Villa, Villafuerte, Villara Suarez, Villarica, Yap Victor, Yu.
The result of the nominal voting with 211 members voting in affirmative, 0 in negative, and 0 abstentions. House Bill number 8077 is hereby approved on third and final reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration on third reading of House Bill number 5680 pursuant to the rules of the House. For this purpose, may I request the Secretary General to read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the bill and call the roll for nominal voting.
House Bill number 5680, an act converting the Land Transportation Office Region 6 of Bacolod City into a regular licensing center to be known as the Negros Occidental Licensing Center, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. Roll call of members in consideration of House Bill number 5680. Abante, Abaya, Abellanosa, Abu, Abueg-Zaldivar, Abunda, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adyong, Advincula, Agabas, Agaraw, Aglipay, Aguinaldo, Albano, Almario, Alonte, Alvarez Franz, Alvarez Hanaro, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante Matba, Amatong, Angara, Aragones, Arbison, Arenas, Arroyo, Atienza, Aumentado, Babasa, Bagatsing, Balindong, Baños Nograles, Barba, Barbers, Baronda, Barzaga, Bascug, Bautista, Bautista Bandigan, Belmonte, Benitez, Bernos, Biazon, Billones, Biron, Bolilla, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo, Brosas, Bulot, Bustos, Kabatbat, Kabochan, Cabredo, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cawagdan, Cardema, Cari, Castelo, Castro France, Castro Fedenil, Cayetano Alan Peter, Cayetano Maria Laarni, Celeste, Chato, Chipeco, Chungalao, Co Angelica, Co Elizaldi, Coanco, Colliantes, Crisologo, Cua, Quaresma, Cueva, Colyamat, Dago, Delipe, Dalog, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, Defensor Lawrence, Defensor Michael, De Los Santos, De Los Montalia, Dimaporo Abdullah, Dimaporo Khalid, Duavit, Duhali, Duterte, Di Faustino Ino, Di Faustino Michael, Di Ian, Ebcas, Ecleo, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Farinas Ria, Farinas Rudy Cesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Frasco, Fentebella, Gaite, Garbin, Garcia Jose Enrique, Garcia Pablo John, Garcia Vincent, Garin Janet, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchalian, Gato, Heron, Go Ed, Go Mark, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio, Gonzales Neptali, Gonzales Sandro, Goriseta, Guico, Gulias, Guya, Haresco, Hataman, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Halos Javier, Jimenez, Co Eliza, Co Wilton, Kong Hun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lacson Noel, Lagman, Lagon, Lara, Lazatin, Liachon, Legarda, Lim, Kaichong, Lopez, Loyola, Lusotan, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Mangawang, Mangudadatu, Marcoleta, Mariano Hernandez, Marino, Marquez, Martinez, Matba, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Momo, Natividad Nagaño, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles, Jericho, Nograles Juan, Nolasco, Nunez, Malanyaon, Oaminal, Olivares, Ong Jose, Ong Ronnie, Ordanes, Ortega, Oano, Dizon, Pacquiao Alberto, Pacquiao Rogelio, Padiernos, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panotes, Peña, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Puno, Kimbo, Radaza, Ramirez Sato, Remulla, Revilla, Reyes, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez, Roman, Romero, Romualdez Ferdinand, Romualdez Yeda, Romualdo Romulo Roque, Sakdalan, sa Garbaria, sa Kaluran, Salceda, sa Limbangon, Salo, Sanchez, Sangkopan, Santos Recto, Sarmiento, sa Ulog, Savellano, Shao, Silverio, Singson, Singson Mihan, Sinsuat, Swansing Estrelita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez Aleta, Suarez David, Suntay si Alvarado, Taduran, Talyado, Tambunting, Tan Eliza, Tan Angelina, Tan Samir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherney, Tejada, Teves Arnulfo, Teves Jose, Tiangco Tolentino, Torres Gomez, Tulfo, Tupas, Chutor, T. Alan, T. Diego, Umali Alfonso, Umali Maria Victoria, Unabia, Ungab, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Valeriano, Valmayor, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velasco, Veloso, Vergara, Villa, Villaferte, Villanueva, Eduardo, Villanueva, Noel, Villar, Villaraza Suarez, Villarica, Violago, Yap Eric, Yap Victor, Yu Zamora Ronaldo, Zamora Waikurat, Zarate Zubiri. Second call in consideration for House Bill number 5680. Abaya, Acosta, Agaraw, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amatong, Aumentado, Baños Nograles, Baronda, Barzaga, Bautista, Bernos, Biron, Bulut, Calderon, Caminero, Canama, Cardema, Chungalao, Co Elizaldi, Coangco, Crisologo, Cua, Delipe, De Jesus, De Venecia, Duavit, Ebcas, Erice, Ermita Buhain, Espino, Fernandez, Flores, Gatchalian, Gonzaga, Gonzales Sandro, Guico, Guya, Haresco, Javier, Jimenez, Conghun, Madrona, Marcoleta, Marino, Marquez, Matba, Mercado, Nava, Nograles Juan, Nolasco, Nunez Malanyaon, Oaminal, Ortega, Panotes, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Romero, Romulo, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Silverio, Suarez Aleta, Suntay, si Alvarado, Talyado, Tan Angelina, Tan Samir, Tan Sheri, Tan Sherney, Tejada, Teves Arnulfo, Teves Jose, Tiangco, Torres Gomez, Tulfo, T. Alan, Uy Juliet, Veloso, Villa, Villaferte, Villarza Suarez, Villarica, Yap Victor Yu.
Result of the nominal voting with 212 members voting in affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstention. House Bill number 5680 is hereby approved on third and final reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration on third reading of House Bills number 8081 and 8082, copies of which were distributed to the members. For this purpose, may I request that the Secretary General be directed to read the titles of the bills and thereafter to call the roll for nominal voting. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting.
House Bill 8081, an act establishing a multi-species marine hatchery in the municipality of Biliran, province of Biliran, and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 8082, an act establishing a freshwater fish hatchery in the municipality of Talacogon, province of Agusan del Sur, and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call of members in consideration of House Bill numbers 8081 and 8082. Abante, Abaya, Abellanosa, Abu, Abig, Saldivar, Abunda, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advincula. Agabas, Agaraw, Aglipay, Aguinaldo, Albano, Almario, Alonte, Alvarez, Franz, Alvarez Senaro, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Matba, Amatong, Angara, Aragones, Arbison, Arenas, Arroyo, Atienza, Aumentado, Babasa, Bagatsing, Balindong, Banyas Nograles, Barba, Barbers, Baronda, Bersaga, Bascug, Bautista, Bautista Bandigan, Belmonte, Benitez, Bernos, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bolilla, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo, Brosas, Bulot, Bustos, Kabatbat, Cabotchan, Cabredo, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cawagdan, Cardema, Cari, Castelo, Castro Franz, Castro Fredinil, Cayetano, Alan Peter Compañero, Cayetano, Mariela Arni, Celeste, Chato, Chipeco, Chungalauco, Angelica, Coelizaldi, Coanco, Collantes, Crisologo, Cuwa, Quaresma, Cueva, Colyamat, Dagook, Dalipe, Dalog, Dasa, De Jesus, De Venecia, Defensor Lawrence, Defensor Michael, De Los Santos, De Los Montalia, Demaporo Abdullah, Demaporo Muhammad Khalid, Duavit, Duhale, Duterte, Di Faustino Ino, Di Faustino Michael III, D. Ian Paul, Ebcas Ecleo, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Fariñas Ria, Fariñas Rudy Cesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Fer Juliet, Fer Luis, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Frasco, Fuentebella, Gaite, Garbin, Garcia Jose Enrique, Garcia Pablo John, Garcia Vincent, Garin Janet, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchalian, Gato, Heron, Goed, Gomart, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Neptali, Gonzales Sandro, Groseta, Gico, Gullias, Guya, Haresco, Hataman, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Halusos, Javier, Jimenez, Co Elisa, Co Wilton, Konghun, Labad Labad, Lacson, Lacson Noel, Lagman, Lagon, Lara, Lasatin, Liachon, Legarda, Lim Lim Kaichong, Lopez, Loyola, Losotan, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Mangawang, Magunda Dato, Marcoleta, Mariano Hernandez, Marino, Marquez, Martinez, Matba, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Momo, Natividad Nagaño, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles, Jerko, Nograles, Juan Fidel, Nolasco, Nunez Malañaon, Waminal, Olivares, Ong Roni, Ordanes, Ortega, Uwano Dizon, Pacquiao Alberto, Pacquiao Rogelio, Pajernos, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panotes, Peña, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Puno, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramirez Sato, Rimulya Revilla, Reyes Rivera, Robes Rodriguez, Roman Romero, Romualdez Ferdinand, Romualdez Sieda Marie, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Sanchez, Sancopan, Santos Recto, Sarmiento, Saulug, Savellano, Xiao Silverio, Singson, Singson Mihan, Sinsuat, Swansing Estradita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez Aleta, Suarez David, Suntay, Si Alvarado, Taduran, Talyado, Tambunting, Tan Alisa, Tan Angelina, Tan Shamir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Teves Arnulfo, Teves Jose, Tiangco, Tolentino, Torres Gomez, Tulfo, Tupas, Chutorti, Alan, T. Diego, Umali Alfonso, Umali Maria Victoria, Unabia, Ungab, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Valeriano, Valmayor, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velasco, Veloso, Vergara, Villa, Villafuerte, Villanueva, Brother Eddie, Villanueva Noel, Villar, Villara Suarez, Villarica, Violago, Yep Eric, Yep Victor, Yu, Zamora Ronaldo, Zamora Waikorat, Zarate, Zubiri. Second call for House Bill number 8081 and 8082. Abaya, Acosta, Agaraw, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amatong, Mintado, Banyas Nograles, Baronda, Bersaga, Bautista, Bernos, Biron, Bulot, Calderon, Caminero, Canama, Cardema, Chungalaw, Coelizalde, Cuanco, Crisologo, Cuwa, Dalipe, De Jesus, De Venecia, Duavit, Ebcas, Erice, Ermita Buhain, Espino, Fernandez, Flores, Gatchalian, Gonzaga, Gonzales Neptali, Gonzales Sandro, Gico, Guya, Haresco, Javier Jimenez, Konghun, Madrona, Marcoleta, Marino, Marquez, Matba, Mercado, Nava, Nograles, Juan Fidel, Nolasco, Nunez Malañaon, Waminal, Ortega, Panotes, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Romero, Romulo, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Silverio, Suarez Aleta, Suntay, Si Alvarado, Talyado, Tan Angelina, Tan Shamir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Teves Arnulfo, Teves Jose, Tiangco, Torres Gomez, Tulfo, T. Alan, Uy Juliet, Veloso, Villa, Villafuerte, Villaraza Suarez, Villarica, Yap Victor, Yu.
The result of the nominal voting with 212 members voting in affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, House Bill numbers 8081 and 8082 are hereby approved on third and final reading. Majority Leader.
Speaker, I move that all the bills approved on third and final reading be immediately transmitted to the Senate. I move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there an objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. The Secretary General is hereby directed to transmit all the bills to the Senate.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend session. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Session suspended. Session resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Bill number 8207, contained in Committee Report number 660, and request that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the House Bill. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved. The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the measure.
House Bill 8207, an act allowing the conversion of the municipality with either a population of at least 100,000 inhabitants as certified by the Philippine Statistics Authority or a contiguous territory of at least 100 square kilometers as certified by the Land Management Bureau into a component city if it has a logically generated average annual income of at least 250 million pesos, amending for the purpose Section 450 of Republic Act Number 7160 as amended, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate. So, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Tyron D. Agabas of the 6th District of Pangasinan to sponsor the measure. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Tyron Nagabas is hereby.
Mr. Speaker, may I request the Honorable Speaker to consider the explanatory note as contained in House Bill number 8207 as the sponsorship of the said measure. Mr. Speaker.
Sir.
Mr. Speaker, there being no member who wishes to interpolate the sponsor, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate.
Is there an objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
Is there an objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of committee amendments.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no member who wish, there being no committee amendments, I move that we now proceed to individual amendments.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority
Mr. Speaker, there being no member who wishes to propose individual amendments, I move that we close the period of amendments. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we vote on second reading House Bill number 8207. So move, Mr. Speaker.
All those are in favor, say aye. Louder, please. Those are against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 8207 is approved on second reading. Majority
Speaker, I move that we suspend session for a few minutes.
Session suspended. Session resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration of House Bill number 1418, contained in Committee Report number 1, and direct the Secretary General to please read the title of the House Resolution, 1418.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the measure.
House Resolution 1418, resolution urging the government of the Republic of the Philippines to submit its final nationally determined contribution to the Secretariat of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change on or before 31 December 2020.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Representative Ed Chato from the 1st District of Bohol for his sponsorship. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Ed Chato is hereby recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. It is an honor and a privilege to sponsor the adoption of House Resolution 1418 contained in Committee Report 670, expressing the sense of the House of Representatives for the Government of the Republic of the Philippines to submit its first nationally determined contribution, NDC, to the Secretariat of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change on or before 31 December 2020. There is urgency in this House resolution, Mr. Speaker, because the deadline set for submission of the nationally determined contributions of the parties that ratified the Paris Agreement in 2017 has already been set at the end of this year. The country is expected to comply with such a deadline. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adoption of House Resolution number 1418. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Remain in favor. Adoption. Is there any objection? I hear none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Ed Chato.
Mr. Speaker, I move for additional reference of business and request the Secretary General to read the titles of the committee reports.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the measure.
Additional reference of business, committee reports, report of the Committee on Justice on House Bill number 8268.
Committee on Rules.
Report number 703 on House Bill number 8269.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 704 on House Bill number 8270.
Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we suspend session for a few minutes. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Session suspended. Session resume. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the omnibus approval on second reading of the following local bills. House Bill number 8221, contained Committee Report number 668. House Bill number 8224, contained in Committee Report number 669. House Bill number 8225, contained Committee Report number 671. House Bill number 6226, contained Committee Report number 672. House Bill number 8227, contained Committee Report number 673. House Bill number 8228, contained in Committee Report number 674. House Bill number 94, contained Committee Report number 675. House Bill number 4700, contained Committee Report number 676. House Bill number 6066, contained Committee Report number 677. House Bill number 6453, contained Committee Report 678. House Bill number 6152, contained Committee Report number 679. House Bill number 6169, contained Committee Report 680. House Bill number 8263, contained Committee Report number 681. House Bill number 6440, contained Committee Report number 682. House Bill number 6237, contained Committee Report number 684. House Bill number 6238, contained Committee Report number 685. House Bill number 8239, contained Committee Report number 686. House Bill number 6240, contained Committee Report number 687. House Bill number 8254, contained Committee Report 694. House Bill number 8255, contained Committee Report 695. House Bill number 8260, contained Committee Report 697. House Bill number 8270, contained Committee Report 704. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Is there an objection? I hear none, that the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we move to nominate and elect as Deputy Speaker Representative Bumble Tolentino and Representative Isidro T. Ongab as Deputy Speaker, Mr. Speaker.
Is there an objection? I hear none, that the motion is approved. Congratulations.
Also
Majority
move
Leader.
to nominate and elect Representative Hector Sanchez as Vice Chairperson of the Committee on Basic Education and Culture. So, Mr. Speaker.
Is there an objection? I hear none, the motion is approved. Congratulations. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we also move to nominate Representative Henry Villarica as member of the House contingent to the House of Representatives Electoral Tribunal, Vice Rep. Alfredo A. Garbin Jr.
Is there an objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Congratulations.
And Representative Alvin A. Garbin Jr. as Chairperson of the Committee on Constitutional Amendments, Vice Representative Rufus D. Rodriguez. So, Mr. Speaker.
Is there an objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Congratulations.
Speaker, we also move to nominate and elect Representative Lucille Marie Cardema as Vice Chairperson of the Committee on National Defense and Security, Representative Jose Bong J. Teves Jr. as Vice Chairperson of the Special Committee on Food Security, Vice Representative Rogelio Ruel D. Pacquiao, and as members of the Committee on Games and Amusements, Representative Lucille Marie S. Cardema and Representative Arnie V. Puentevilla. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, that the motion is approved. Congratulations, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we also move to nominate and elect as Vice Chairpersons of the Special Committee on Creative Industry and Performing Arts, Representative Roman T. Romulo, Representative Francisco Kiko Benitez, Representative Eduardo Maceda, and Representative Leanda Bulilia. As members of the Special Committee on Creative Industry and Performing Arts, Representative Sharon Garin, Representative Jericho Jonas Nograles, Representative Maria Lourdes de Arroyo, Representative Xavier Jesus de Romualdo, Representative Victor Yap, Representative Joy Myra Estambunting, Representative Lawrence Defensor, Representative Ann Hofer, Representative Alfred Vargas, Representative Ana Maria Villaraza Suarez, Representative Geraldine B. Roman, Representative Manuel Sagar Barria, Representative Dan Fernandez, Representative Jose Enrique Joet S. Garcia III, Representative Ronnie L. Ong, Representative Claudine Dayan Bautista, Representative Alfred C. De Los Santos, Representative Amihilde S. Sangkopan, and Representative Aloy Alim. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Congratulations, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we move to nominate and elect Representative Jose Bonito C. Singson Jr. as Chairperson of the Committee on Public Accounts, Vice Representative Michael T. Depensor. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none, then the motion is approved. Congratulations.
Mr. Speaker, in accordance with the rules, I move that we authorize all committees to conduct meetings or public hearings if deemed necessary during the adjournment of the House from December 17, 2020 to January 17, 2021. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? The Chair hears none. So it's hereby authorized that all committees to conduct meetings or public hearings if deemed necessary during the adjournment of the House from December 12, 2020 to January 17, 2021. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the reconsideration of the local bills for second reading. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? I hear none. Then the motion is approved.
Mr.
Majority
Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate on the local bills.
Is there any objection? I hear none. Then the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no member who wishes to interpolate the sponsors, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate.
Is there any objection? I hear none. Then the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? I hear none. Then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no committee amendments, I move that we proceed to the individual amendments.
Is there any objection? I hear none. Then the motion is approved. Majority
Mr.
Leader.
Speaker, there being no individual amendments, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? I hear none. Then the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the omnibus approval on second reading the local bills earlier manifested. So, Mr.
Is there
Speaker.
any objection? All those who are in favor, say aye. Louder. Those who are in favor, say aye. Aye. Those who are against, say nay. The ayes have it. All the aforementioned local House bill are approved on second reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize Honorable Kit Belmonte of Quezon City for his manifestation. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Representative Kit Belmonte is hereby recognized.
Good afternoon, and thank you again, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the minority, I move to nominate and elect as chairman to the Committee of Public Accounts, the Honorable Bonito Singson, Vice, the Honorable Mike Defensor. I so move, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Is there any objection? I hear none. The motion is approved. Congratulations. Majority Leader.
Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, I move to nominate and elect on behalf of the minority the Honorable Argel Kabatbat as Deputy Minority Leader, Vice the Honorable Bonito Singson. I so move, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Is there any objection? I hear none. The motion is approved.
Lastly, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, I move to nominate and elect on behalf of the minority the Honorable Arlene Brosas as Assistant Minority Leader, Vice the Honorable Argel Kabatbat. I so move, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Is there any objection? I hear none. The motion is approved. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kit Belmonte. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend session for a few minutes.
Session suspended. Pasok na sa TV. Okay na?
Session resumed. Majority Leader.
The Speaker of the House, Speaker Lord Alan J. Velasco, will address the plenary for his December report and his Christmas greetings.
Thank you, Majority Leader. 2020 has been a year full of challenges and upheaval, but with this also came a distinct opportunity to create a better normal for the country and our people. I would like to recognize and thank all of you, dear colleagues, for all your hard work and perseverance amidst the pandemic. I was in Marinduque when Typhoons Quinta and Rolly battered our country, and I knew at once that these were no ordinary typhoons. When Ulysses caused unprecedented flooding in various parts of the country, talaga pong naisip ko, may COVID na nga, sunod-sunod pa ang mga bagyo. Never has the mettle and resolve of government and our public servants been collectively and consecutively tested in recent memory than it has been this year. Pero nandito pa rin po tayo, lumalaban at nagtratrabaho. After all that we have been through, I could truly say we are a stronger house. From the time we assumed office in October until today, we have processed a total of 185 measures with 7 Republic Acts and at least 20 more measures we hope the President signs into law before the year ends, including the 2021 General Appropriations Act. We also approved 83 measures on third reading and 50 more measures on second reading, not yet counting the measures we just approved today. Maraming salamat sa mga kasama, kila Madjo, sa Rules Committee, sa lahat ng mga kasamahan rito sa Kongreso, sa ating mga staff, sa patuloy na suporta at tiwala po ninyo. As the world continues to grapple with the pandemic, it may feel strange to celebrate the holidays, but let us still celebrate our small triumphs in the season of hope, compassion, and charity. It was my son's birthday last week, and it was his 13th birthday that I missed. I went home over the weekend to make it up to him because I have always believed that my family and my children are the reason why I work for our country. He asked me how things are at work and if I get tired. I told him that we would never get tired of working for a better country for him and his siblings and building a stronger nation for our people. Dear colleagues, we can never get tired. Being tired is a small price to pay in a country that has felt the brunt of climate change and yet refuses to bow down. This is a proud country and people, and it is our humble privilege to ease the burden of our countrymen. With all of you by my side in the struggle to make the Philippines a better place for our children and the generations yet to come, the work continues. But let us pause for the holidays to celebrate our reasons for the season. Family, friends, good health, life, and most of all, love. Maligayang Pasko sa ating lahat. Happy holidays. Love ko po kayo. Maraming salamat po. Majority Leader. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, move, suspend session till January 18 at 3 p.m. 2021. Correction, Mr. Speaker, we move to adjourn till January 18, 2021.
Session is
At 3 p.m.
adjourned till January 18, 2021. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Tama.